one of the biggest habits I ever see about people not getting funded. It's because you don't set up a business plan to be funded. Here's a great idea. Why don't you go talk to your hard money, gap money, small money, due diligence money, earnest money, private money, 401k money, and ask them, what does it take to get qualified for your money? And then build a business plan behind it, reverse engineer it. In fact, some of the best tips you could ever get is think about like a money man thinks and do it 10x bigger and better than they even thought. Why don't you figure out a new way to secure their money in such a safer way that diversifies yourself from anybody else? Why don't you think about ways to keep their money so safe they never even thought about how to keep their money so safe, right? Why did you become such an addiction of how to keep people's money so safe that they love to give you money? They can't wait for you to give you another deal so that they can instantaneously fund their money. Most of these people have millions of dollars. I think one of the biggest things out there is that people that they want to get into real estate, and then the money question, how do I get the money? How do I get the money? Like, that's their biggest problem. And then their smallest problem is the system that they use, the methodology, the psychology that they use about real estate, the strategy, tactical strategies about it. But their fear base about money is so big and their strategy is so small. If I told you, you just gotta flip it, baby. If your methodology and tactics about your system is so high, I promise to everything of my whole life, money is the smallest problem. It's the easiest problem because you're flipping it. You're flipping it around where you finally get the concept that there is so much money out there. I don't think anyone really understands what, especially when you get started in real estate. You don't even understand how much money there really is inside there. If you went to any normal REIA club, REIA, just a regular ass REIA club in any major city that you're talking about, I can guarantee you there's $10 million in there. There's way more money to fund every one of your deals than the amount of deals that qualifies for the money. Check that. Way more money than you could ever have deals that qualify for the money. So if that becomes your new core, if that becomes your business idea, your business plan, to create such a system that qualifies for their money over and over and over again, times that by 10x, think of ways to get their money that is more than they ever thought. Secure their money, just keep their money so safe. Think of every aspect of the system that says just you're thinking about how that money thinks. You're thinking about, if I do this thing, is it going to make the money man happy or money woman happy? Are they going to give me the money more than anybody else because someone else doesn't use a home inspector, someone else doesn't use an appraiser, someone else doesn't use whatever? You know, their team members are weak. My team members are strong. Does that make the money guy happier? Yeah, it does. Well, that diversifies you from all the other investors that's inside the REIA club. That's why you're going to get all the money. And so what I'm doing here is I'm going to teach you guys to never think about the money. You never have to worry about the money. I can tell you how to get funded all the time. You just got to do the system right. If you do the whole system with the idea, the paradigm, the business plan of how do I satisfy the money guy on crack, like the obsession of it. And every day we come up with new obsessions of how does this make the money guy even happier? Does it even make it happier? Does it even make it happier? What if we took a business plan that had high retention rate of financiers who want to fund your deals every time you have a deal? Every time you have a deal. It's 100% guaranteed you definitely getting funded. And this goes for all REIA clubs all across the 50 states. What if we made a business plan backwards or reverse engineered it into the psychology of the money man? Not just the minimum standard to qualify for the money, but 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x. You're obsessed with the money man's money, being so safe, being so put together that you diversify yourself. Another thing you ought to know about money is that there is so much different types of money. There's amateur money. You don't want that kind of money. Someone that's took their 401k and they've never lent their money out to somebody. You don't want that money. You don't want micromanaging type of money. no matter how much money that is. Be strong and stern enough to just be like, no, I'm not gonna, that's amateur money. That's you don't know how to put your money as a first lien holder. Maybe you put your interest as a second lien holder. Maybe it's your first time investing with it. No, we don't want that kind of money. Deuces. Next. The other kind of money is secure with somebody that has done this plenty of times. If they lent it out, they got $10 million, they're making 1 or 2 points off of other people's money. That's fine. Those are hard money. That's private money. That's gap money. That's people in the RIA club. You'll find them all over the place. That's fine. That's good money. What you really want is specialized money. People that really specialize in working with investors are the type of people that see your system, and they have like diversified money. So here's a bunch of money that's for auctions with no inspections, cashier's checks kind of people, money high aggressive financiers. That's not my kind of money. That doesn't work for me. I don't like that kind of risk. And then there's other people with a lot of money that's called conservative. They're the kind of people that likes this program, likes this system, likes how detail-oriented, massive sniper tactics of how the strategy works, because it's not like all the aggressive people on this side. So it diversifies their portfolio from, I got 10 people over here that'll do shit with no inspections, no no appraisals, no nothing, and they have a success ratio of over 50%. So even if they lose 1 or 2 houses, they're gonna make money on 6, 7, 8 houses. So at the end of the year, they're gonna move their money. It's gonna be all right. And then there's other people like me who does quality over quantity. Maybe I only have 1 deal a year. That's perfect from A to Z. Maybe I only have 2 a year, 1 every 6 months. But every time he comes and sees my book, and the book has it's like a 100-page book of the whole team members, and everybody's resumes, and everybody's experiences working with investors, the whole marketplace. You have 3 or 4 or 5 master comps within a half-mile, 1 mile, 2 mile radius because it's stronger. Every time he sees my kind of money, he knows it's way more detailed than the aggressive money. It's conservative, and it's super practical because all these opinions that's coming out from everybody, it's not yours. It's not yours. You know what's the worst things that I hate the most is when a cousin that's a general contractor magically becomes your inspector. Tell Juan, your brother-in-law, uncle, dad, somebody, stop doing home inspections when you're a general contractor. Please. Lord, please help me. Oh, that's like the worst. It's one of the worst habits. I don't like that the most. Because it jacks up your money guy. Think from the money guy's point of view. Does the money guy want to know that your Uncle John is your general contractor that does not give you a home inspection? He just walks around. Does he go in the bottom, in the basements underneath the house? Does he take 200 pictures? Does he take 10-page reports and give it? Is he a license? Does he have a bond? Is he insured? Does he have experience of working with investors as a home inspector? Does he have a resume? Is he licensed by the state? Does he have radon, termite, or anything else? No, he doesn't. So stop using them. Stop using them. I hate because the core value there, it's fear, and it's because I want to save money. I hate that one. Because I want to save money. That jacks up the whole money system way more than anyone ever consciously really knows. Because it's not safe. You have to have general contractors, not 1, not 2, but the 3. General contractors that come in with a bid with an as-is appraisal from your home inspector the night before. And then it goes into the ARV, the granite maybe, the stainless steel appliances, the crown molding, the two-tone paint, the whatever. It goes into 2 different bids from 3 different, not related. Nobody's related. They all have 10 years in their resumes of being general contractor. They're all part of the RIA club. They've done you have multiple testimonials from other investors that's in the same area. Is that what your money people want to see? Absolutely. Does that make you stronger? Absolutely. Are you going to get funded? Absolutely. So, there's a lot of people that's going to hate on that. idea because they've been working with their uncle or their aunt. And I'm not just saying that as a general contractor into it. It's just a bad habit. And you might win today, you might win tomorrow until Black Mode shows up, until a foundation shows up, because he's not an inspector. He's a general contractor. This is the same idea as a realtor. Stop using your auntie who's a realtor. Please just stop using your mom who's a realtor or your spouse that's a realtor. Don't make that cute looking, what's that called? The cute couple that fix and flip houses or whatever, right? You want to keep the money inside because you want to save money. That's the core of all the bullshit right there. That'll fuck up your financing right there. That's one of the other subtle, horrible mistakes / missteps that you should never take, especially as a beginner. Don't use yellow pages. Don't just pull a realtor out of the rabbit out of the hat out of nowhere. Okay? Because it's a bad habit. Number one, when you're using a general contractor that might be your auntie or uncle, and your realtor that might be your mom or your sister, that's family. If you screw up family, you messed up the whole family tree. There's high risk. There's loyalty when you use family until it screws up. Anytime you do business and someone doesn't get paid and it ruins your family relationships and your family, there's so many realtors, there's so many general contractors, there's so many inspectors. You don't have to risk using your family member and ruining your family reunions because you are the first time, never use it, don't use it. I'll teach you how to find the right ones. But don't use family, especially in the beginning. You don't know what you're doing. And if your deal goes south, you could ruin your whole family tree. Don't do that. I'll teach you how to get the right realtors. It's a bad habit to use family, especially in the beginning. Especially if you want to save money. I hate that. That's the worst. That's the worst. It's because you need to build a business paradigm of how does my money people see it? That's the way you need to think all the time. Would your money people rather have a realtor that specializes in working with investors that's inside of a REIA club that has a resume that's over 10 years and you can see the last 3 houses that they sent to other realtor investors, right? And they specialize, they have an award for the best buying agent in the state? Wouldn't that make a way better, bigger, stronger teammate? And sometimes your realtor doesn't specialize in selling, only specializes in buying. That's the kind of relationships that we do need. Sometimes your other agent, especially top 10 award in the state, is someone that specializes in selling. So maybe 3% goes over here and 3% over here. See, when you use family and you use aunties and uncles and your spouse and somebody else like that, you're thinking about 3% staying inside the family. And you're also thinking about the same person. Well, some agents aren't good at selling. They're only good at buying. And some agents are not good at buying. They're only really good at chocolate, cookies, and balloons and signs everywhere. They're a master at selling, but they're not good at buying. I don't know, you can negotiate with 2.5 to 2 and all that stuff. I don't. If you're worth your money, I'm gonna pay you all 3%. Because what's 3%? You gotta think inside, like when you do this system and you think about how investors, how financiers think. We are, at the end of the day, thinking about creating a system of infinite ROI. Infinite ROI. There's a lot of people out there that talk about infinite ROI and yet they don't actually do it. What is an infinite ROI? That means you put zero money in. Zero money in. Zero. It doesn't mean that you go get a hard money or 401k money and gap money, and yet you still pay for a home inspection report. You still pay personally for maybe a general contractor needs $50 to come out to the house for some streets. Sure, you paying for that? That's not an infinite ROI. Don't be lying. Don't be lying. You talk like you have an infinite ROI, but who's putting up the earnest money down? You? That's not an infinite ROI. That's not an infinite ROI. What if I taught you a system where all your 401k, all your hard money, all your gap money, all your small money, all your earnest money, all your due diligence money was funded. You think when I do a deal, I pay for any of this? Hell to the no. You know why no one uses home inspections in the beginning? Because they want to save money. Why? Because they're using their own money. That's what jacks up the whole system. You know why nobody wants to pay for 3 general contractor bids to come out there, and sometimes they got to pay $50, $100 for them, whatever, times 3. You know why nobody wants to do 3 general contractor bids? Because they want to save money. Why do they want to save money? Because they're using their own money. If you use your own money, is that an infinite ROI? Hell to the no. That's why you're making decisions like that. But if I told you that we could create a system where, what if I gave you home inspection money to do home? I throw away $1,000 on every house, whether we buy it or not, in due diligence money. Why do you not throw away $1,000 on every house, whether you buy it or not? Because you're using your own money. That's why. But what if I told you there is a way for you to use other people's money for due diligence money? Would you then magically get a strong home inspector instead of Juan? I know I'm over passionate, but sometimes I gotta smack some people in the face on the pendulum that swings all the way on the other side. Smack them so damn hard to get a bad habit out of them, so that they can finally get down to the middle where you're calm, cool, and poised with pure confidence that you know in all 50 states you can go anywhere, build a team in a few months or less. Once you know what kind of team members you need, you just go to a RIA club and you pick up all the freaking best of the best. You get all their resumes, you find all these deals that no one else is looking at, and you get them funded. Because you're so obsessed with the money, people's money being so safe. You're more obsessed about their money being safe than they are. You're more obsessed with their money being safe more than they are. That's why you're going to build a long-term relationship where you always have your deal financed. That's the core of the whole thing. If I told you you could get all the money to do home inspections, would you do home inspections on every property? Obviously. If I told you that if general contractors need a little transportation fee, that other people will pay for that, would you use them? Obviously. The only reason why you're not using them is because you think you're going to use your own money, which is definitely not an infinite ROI. So we're building a business for an infinite ROI returns. Okay, this is one of my very first videos that we're just putting out there just to chop it up and start it up. And there's going to be plenty more to come. That's, I had a small little thing in my head that I wish I knew early on when I first started, of all these little bad habits. It doesn't seem like a bad habit in the beginning, but it really is. Don't use your auntie, your spouse, your uncle as a realtor. Don't use it. They do not specialize in working with investors. They only specialize in working with white picket fence, a tire swing on a tree, and a dog for retail price. Young couple, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, just regular ass houses. You don't need a regular ass realtor. You need a specialist. You need a sniper. You need someone that has experience in working with investors. That realtor only knows how to ride a horse. You need a realtor that specializes in working with zebras. They're similar, but they're definitely not the same. Like, if I text my realtor at 2 a.m., they need to text me back. If I'm up and thinking about money, they need to be up and they need to be thinking about money. If I call and you're in the middle of some like a showing for your business, whatever, that's cool. You need to text me. Do you feel like you're in high demand? You feel like you're special or something? Yeah. You bet your damn ass. If I told you that a home inspector has to be at my property in less than 24 hours when I call, and I don't care if it's $500 for you need a team member of at least 3 people in a home inspection. Because when I call you, it doesn't matter what tomorrow, what 3 properties you might have. My property goes to the top. I must be seen. What if you had to build a home inspection relationship like that? Where they drop everything for their day and they have to come and serve me, and I don't care what their price is because I'm not paying for it. I'm not trying to save money. It's not my money. What if I told you that's how you should think? Because by that night, 12 o'clock midnight, that report needs to be into me. So for them to drop all that, they need team members inside their home inspection crew so that they can pick up those things while this guy comes and sees me. They can still run their business, but they definitely need to see me early. Then they have to make a report, a ridiculously detailed report on crack. And then they need to send it to me by midnight. And they have to have over 10 years, and they have to be in the real, and they have to specialize working with investors. Now, what if you had a home inspector like that? Does your financier person really like him? Because the next day, general contractors are coming out. The very next day, general contractors are coming out. How many of you guys have due diligence periods like 30 days or 14 days? What if I told you we could build a team that you could do everything in 3 days? Everything in 3 days. Anything more than that, cushion, like 10 business days is about average. But in the first 3 days, once I lock it up, it says it's yours, pocket listing, it's behind, it fell out of escrow, it's on the market at 8 o'clock. At 8:01, it's off the market pending because your relationship with some broker that specializes in working with investors, it's yours. Diversify yourself from all other investors. A system that you can take to all RIA clubs in all 50 states. A system that works with whether you want to wholesale it, maybe you want to flip it, maybe you want to rent it. Doesn't matter. It might matter because you have a slightly different financier, but they'll still fund it. A flipping financier or a rental financier might be two different types of financiers. It's the same process. If you come up with a system that's safe and high quality, you're going to be fine. So, email me, message me, text me, leave something in the comments, and